pH is definitely an important component in order for managing your crop, right? So pH is basically the barometer of your soil health. It's like if you have the flu and your temperature goes up or down, like, that will indicate where you're at with the health of your soil. pH is similar to that. It has a huge impact on the availability of nutrients, has a huge impact of different processes that happen within the soil that will impact the end result of your crop. So enzyme availability, the soil life, all kinds of other stuff that it will impact. So pH by itself is important. So at the U of A, they've had a couple of researches happening. Nicole Fox did some, and even at the university in Guelph, they've done some work with pH and how to control and manage clubroot. And one of the things that is not curing clubroot, but seems to have an impact on clubroot, is going to a pH above 7.2. Now the problem with that is that's relatively high, 7.2 in relationship to other crops and other crop yields. So what we've been working on is we're doing, together with Lara and GROW, we're doing two different trials. So GROW is Gateway Research Organization in Westlock. And what we're doing there, as well as here, is trying to figure out what is that, like, can we go that high? What's the impact of that? So we don't have clubroot here, so what we're doing here is just looking at the pH modification and then the impact on yield, where there is lots of clubroot in the barhead area, so we're actually looking at the impact of applying the lime products and see what kind of impact that has on clubroot. Now, like I said earlier, with the U of A research, there was two different types of limestone products that were used. And the one is the hydrated lime. So hydrated lime is basically limestone that has been burned, which then becomes quicklime, and then you put water back in and it becomes hydrated lime. Now that's a chemical product, so it's not something on the farm we would be using on a regular basis, and it's not something that is easy to use either, because it is quite basic. It has a pH of 12. Versus regular limestone has normally a pH of about 8, depending on the product that you use. So what we've been trying to figure out, what we found at Nicole Fox's research is actually that applying hydrated lime has a big impact on the clubroot disease. And applying zero grind, not as much, but zero grind is different because it hasn't got that chemical. It's not that chemical product. It's just ground rock, right? And it's ground so fine that to the finest level that we can. So the finer the rock is ground, the quicker it reacts in the soil, the quicker it has an impact on the pH. So far what we found is that pH in relationship to clubroot is not a cure. It seems to have an impact, but it definitely doesn't cure clubroot. But it might be one of the things that you can use as part of the toolbox in order to control clubroot if it would be in your area or if it would be getting close. As far as I understand, it's not necessarily as close to here, but it definitely is spreading out. So understanding that part, where we come from, the next part is, okay, well, you do apply it and you do want to control the clubroot, and you will go to a pH of 7.2 or a little higher. So then what happens to the other crops? So what we've done here this year is we're looking at a barley, and we're going to go to the silage variety, to the silage stage, so just dough ripe, and then we're going to measure the yield. The idea is that next year we're going to go and have 3 different crops in the rotation, and we do this another year after that. So it'll be a 3-year trial, with the first year being just the silage. And then the second and third year we will have wheat, like a hard red variety, peas, yellow peas, and a canola variety. And what we're going to do is then measure the impact of bringing the pH up to 7.2 and see what that did to the yield, if there is a negative correlation or not. Because of course there is a cost of applying it. there's a benefit by not having the clubroot, and you manage that. But we need to understand what kind of impact does it have on the other crops, so that we can put together a full understanding of what it would do to your profitability, right, as a farmer. So what you see here then is next to the ability to go to that pH at 7.2, is we're also evaluating the different products. So you see 75, 25 here. What we do is we've got hydrated lime and zero grind, and we have it in different ratios. So you go from 100% hydrated on one side and 100% zero grind on the other side, with corrected for the volumes, because this has a higher pH, it's a different product versus the zero grind. We've corrected it for volume, and that will bring it up to that pH of 7.2. But we do it differently, different amounts for 50-50 or 75-25%. But it's all with the target to get to that 7.2. So each of those little plots that you see here, they are sampled individually for pH. And in the fall we'll do it again, and then we'll apply again to make sure that we get to that 7.2. So this is the first year of it that we're doing it. We're going to readjust the amount of lime that we're going to apply to these plots, so that we're actually going to hit that 7.2. And actually you can see some of the limestone here that looks like it's still there. But if you go, it's lime, of course. This year we've had a lot of rain. It needs a little bit of water in order to react, to get in there. But the better result is, like, the better you have it mixed into your topsoil, the better impact and the quicker it will react.